What's going on, guys? It's Dan again from the Wolfpack, and today we're going to be talking about 2 new signings in one day. That's right, 2 signings from Wolves in one day. We're going to talk all about it. See you in just a sec.
We're out for blood. Better run, better run. Here it comes, here it comes. Better run. When the wolves come out to play.
As always, guys, if you like this kind of video and you like the content that's coming at the moment on the channel, please like the video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any more videos and you're there as soon as they are out. Also, it helps us keep up with the algorithm and lets us know that we're doing the right things. So yeah, we made 2 signings today. Both of them became official on the release of our brand new kit, our brand new home kit. And in just a minute, you're going to see what our new signings look like in that kit, which is awesome. And I thought what we'll talk about, because obviously we've talked about both of these players extensively. And if you don't know what that means, well, basically, we already talked about these players till the cows come home on another set of videos. If you don't know about those videos, they will be down in the description. I suggest you look at those because we look at the player in action. We talk about what that kind of player can give us in terms of his stats in these previous teams, etc. And we did that for both Strand, Larsen and Pedro Lima as well. But we also have another video based upon Strand Larsen talking to a journalist of his nationality in Norway before the signing was made about a couple of things that you may or may not know about Strand Larsen. So there's a lot of things that you can see in the description for previous videos based on these 2 players. However, why have I made another video? Well, there's been some pictures of them in the new kit where I thought we'd go through, and then, even more importantly, some articles on the Wolves website going over what Hobbs has said about these 2 signings, why they were made, and all of the interesting things like that. I really love these articles by Matt Hobbs. These are my favourite to read when we make signings. I just love this guy. I think he's just a class act, isn't he? So yeah, let's talk about those. So this is, before we get started, look at how amazing our new lovely player of Pedro Lima looks in his brand new, spanking new Wolves home kit. Ah, mate, that's just a thing of beauty, isn't it? And then, of course, we've also got this smiley boy as well, Jorgen Strand Larsen. Absolute legends. Got to admit, especially on this one, you can proper see that pattern, can't you, in the kit? But anyway, we've already done a kit video. So there's another plug. We did a kit video earlier, so if you want to go over my thoughts on that kit video, there'll be a video for that as well. Loads of plugs in this one. But yes, that's how they look in their kit. Looking awesome. I'm glad he's actually pointing to the centre of the badge. I wonder if they did any takes where he pointed to the side. Anyway, let's go over what Hobbs had to say about Jorgen Strand Larsen first of all. So he said, the 24. So he didn't say this, but this is what Wolves have said first of all about the signing. 24-year-old Norwegian who Wolves first scouted as a teenager back in 2018, produced one of the best seasons of his career last term when he fired 13 goals for La Liga in Celta Vigo, which, you know, we've already talked about all that. So let's talk about some things that we don't know. So this is Matt Hobbs on signing a new number 9. Because that's the thing as well, guys. This guy is our new number 9. He's got the 9 shirt already. If that doesn't say a lot about this style of player and what they think that he'll bring to Wolves. I don't know what will. So yeah, everyone knows that bringing in a number 9 was very important to us, like it was to be to a number of Premier League clubs this year. Sasha Kalajdzic has been so unlucky with his injuries and on his road back. So we needed some depth. We saw that last season. Hee-Chan Hwang is a different type of forward, while Nathan Fraser is still learning his trade. So too is Leon Chirome. What is nice for us is that Jorgen was the number 1 target 9 in the summer. So he was the number 1 target, and Wolves and Matt Hobbs, the absolute beautiful bastard, managed to sign him. Managed to sign their number 1 target. Incredible. But all 3 signings so far were our number 1 choices in the position. So for us, internally, it feels similar to January in 2023 when we bought in Mario Lemina, Dawson, everybody else, because they are 3 of the ones we really wanted to get done. And I think that's what's showing really with Matt Hobbs and the recruitment team, is that they are genuinely getting the people that they're aiming for. Even when they've been scouting them for quite some time as well. It's all of the business that Wolves are making at the moment, and the sort of justification of these signings based upon what this guy's saying is really positive, like super, super positive. Now the hope is that they all have the same level of impact on the pitch, but we're really excited to have Jorgen here on developing into a top striker. The most important thing for me has been his constant development. Every year he's got a bit better. We're not buying the finished article. We won't say he's the finished article because he's still on that journey. But for me, what I like is that the constant improvement, which we've seen in his stats, by the way. He scored like a handful of goals the season before, and now he basically put he basically made that figure 2 digits. So yeah, massive improvements. What Gary O'Neill loved about him was not only the fact that he scores goals, but the amount of running he does for the rest of the team and the chances he likes to create for other people. He probably takes as much satisfaction, my God, in what he does for other people than what he does for himself. We talk a lot about humility, at this football club, and Jorgen fits that perfectly. The development he's had year on year, and you can also see his international career developing all of the time. That's another thing about this player that is great, is the fact that he's in an international team with no other than Erling bloody Haaland. So if he's not learning his trade off one of the best number 9s in the Premier League, what more can you ask for, really? So what does he bring to Wolves? This is interesting. He's a great guy. He's got a really good charisma, great personality, speaks fluent English, which is great. We already knew about this if you've been watching the updates on this channel, because we talked to Adrian, who is one of his friends, and he said that he speaks fluent English as well. So that's great. He also speaks fluent Spanish, which is also helpful. There's a load of players in our team that are Spanish speakers. That's great. Still learning and still developing, and to bring in a number 1 choice has been great. I was sat with him at breakfast. He's a very relaxed guy. He's very laid back, taking things in his stride. Also wants to come and play in the Premier League. You have that natural relaxed attitude of the boy. You know that language is not going to be an issue. Culturally, it's not an issue. So there's not many issues that sometimes we've ran into in the past with this player. It's very much good to go in terms of his culture and his form and everything. So we should see a really good player even in pre-season. We may end up being part of his journey, but like all players who eventually move on, if they can make a really big part in Wolves being successful, then so be it. I'm perfectly comfortable with that. He'll definitely take everything in his stride, and he's already got a bit of British banter about him and fits in really well with the culture. He loves orange chips. on being able to play across the forward line. This is interesting. So obviously it's better to have more versatile players in the squad. We've seen that already. But Gary's only looking at him as a number 9. Jorgen sees himself as a number 9. And when he's had to play wide, in which he's had to do for Norway, because they've got Haaland through the middle, only Haaland, not much competition. He's shown humanity because although he wants to play down the middle, he also wants to play for his country, so adapts to the different positions. But for us, we're very much looking at him to be our number 9. If you look at the options we have in the wide areas, Chani can move out wide and has played loads of football there. It shows that we have a cover in those wider areas, so we can concentrate more on being a number 9. The thing is, what beautiful about what you just said there about Chani is that no one is a number 9 in the current Wolves team, and other than Jorgen and some of the injured players like Sasha, Fabio, who's on the way out, and our youthful players who are quite ready yet. So it's actually going to free up our players to move into their natural positions, which is actually a thing that I don't think a lot of us had thought about. So that's awesome. On Wolves scouting him back in 2018, I can't say. Gut instinct is why Wolves signed him now, because it should be more technical than that, but you get the point. You've watched a boy develop over a couple of years, someone you've always kept an eye on, and you wonder when the right time is in terms of what you've seen. Having done it in Spain and having played with the stature, style and charisma he has, if we had waited and he moves to another club, we probably couldn't afford him. So that's the thing, isn't it? You have to find the right time to buy or sell a player, and I think Hobbs is really wise to that. So with every player, we looked at the market. When he goes from where he was to the Champions League team, he then almost comes beyond us. So we'd have to forget about him. So it's about finding the balance between where we think he's in the development path to when we believe financially is the right time to do it. So just really savvy work there from Matt Hobbs. I mean, what can you say about this guy? Our sporting director is he's a bloody wizard sometimes, to be honest. Like the things that he can produce and the deals he can make. I mean, this deal in general is ingenious. Having a player of this caliber be a loan deal. It reminds me of when we loaned Raul Jimenez, but the difference is that when we did that with Raul Jimenez, there wasn't an obligation to buy, and there wasn't really even a genuine option for Wolves. It was very much here's a good player, see how he gets on. If you get relegated, obviously he won't stay with you, but if you stay up, we'll see about it then. This is very much more of a he'll want to stay. The club his club are happy for him to stay as well, and it's just a giant yes, if he does well. Really, really, really clever, because the worst thing about, and I think we've learned from this now, is you buy a player and then all of a sudden you don't see what you thought you would see in a player, and then they end up being a bit of a flop, which I don't think he's going to be, to be fair, but there you go. You never know, do you? So yeah, we talked about Jorgen. Let's now talk about Pedro Lima. All right, so so he turned 18. He turned 18 yesterday. My 18th birthday was quite different to his, he says. Sorry. My 18th birthday was quite different to his. Let's put it that way. He's had quite the week, turning 18, getting engaged, moving to a foreign country. So it's been a big time in his life and career. What an 18th birthday, man. That's just insane. So on overcoming competition for Lima's signature. Because if you didn't know, basically, I have done a video already about Pedro Lima, but I don't think I went too much in depth about the fact that Chelsea were after him, and we basically, I think I did go in depth a little bit about that actually. But yeah, Chelsea were after him, and we managed to sort of hijack the deal, essentially. So yeah, it's one we've worked on for a while now. He was always a player we wanted to bring in this window. There was always the plan. but we thought it might have been later in the window. But then Chelsea became involved and had agreed with Recife. It was a case of having a day to get it done, and thankfully Jeff was really supportive, and we were able to do it. So there you go. You've just heard it there in black and white. Jeff was really supportive about some money. So fair play, because there's been a lot about Jeff recently, even on this channel. So you know what? If you're going to sign decent players, and give us a little bit of financial backing, then there's not much we can moan about other than the ticketing situation. And if that starts to get rectified, we can start to appreciate Jeff a lot more. And the communication. He has to communicate a lot better. There was lots of competition, and I don't mean this in an arrogant way at all, but had we been able to do it straight away, then there wouldn't have been any competition. I love that. Ben Wigglesworth, head of scouting, went out and sat down with him, presented him the plan, how we saw him, the work we'd done on him, and shown him the project, being the only club who flew out to negotiate or talk about money, but show him a plan. I really think he bought into Ben, and that really brought a good rapport, which is awesome, isn't it? Like, I love that sort of preparation of, like, preparing everything, like, to show the player, to give him more of a sort of, like, inkling into what we're all planning about it. Because I think a lot of the other guys would have been sort of more, we'll loan you out for a bit, but when you're really good, we'll have you back. And I feel like Wolves were very much like, no, you're gonna be in the first team. Like, we really admire you and stuff. I love that. All right, we are a club that sells our project through pathway, opportunity, and connection. While other clubs use different tools like location, size, and money, luckily, what appeals to Pedro is who and what we are. I love that statement. I love it, and I love this next one. We don't paint a picture to be anything it's not, because when they get here, it would be something completely different. We sell it through honesty and sincerity. And if we do that, people will buy into it. We understand that we might just be part of Pedro's journey, but we hope it's part of a successful era in our journey, and that the two fit really nicely together. That whole thing is phenomenal. Genuinely phenomenal. That whole section there is exactly what we should be doing. Absolutely what we should be doing. So that is phenomenal to hear that. That's really, really reassuring if that's the sort of mentality we're going in on signings now. Because I think that this mentality would have helped a lot with our other signings back in the day. I feel like we're one of these clubs that tends to say a lot more than we tend to paint a picture that isn't actually one of fact. And I don't think it's an intentional thing. I think it's just a business thing, but I think it does get lost in translation, and you've seen that with Gonzalo Guedes and loads of players. They get given this massive thing that they buy into, but then they actually get to it and it's nowhere near that level. And I think that's what he's alluding to be fair. Not just talking a load of crap to get a player in. Being genuinely honest. And if that player doesn't want to join at that point, then that's up to them. But you've been honest. Do you know what I mean? You've given an honest assessment. So what does Lima bring to the club? Off the pitch, he has a real attitude of learning. He also has a huge ambition, and he wants to put that to Gary O'Neill on his call. So Gary and the coaches know where he wants to get, and will work with him to be better and improve. He has a massive desire to be the best player he can be on the pitch. He's a highly regarded young player, but he's still a young player nonetheless, who has moved over to a foreign country, even though Mateus, João Gomes, and all the Portuguese-speaking players we have, so it should be very comfortable for him. in that way. But on the pitch, we're hoping to see a really exciting young player who has no pressure from us in these early stages. We'll allow him time to progress and settle. But Pedro is one we have huge hopes for. I mean, I love the idea that, you know, we are buying into young players with shown talent, and we are telling them that this is where to be. Do you know what I mean? You said there about Joe Gomez. He hasn't just left that for no reason. He's left that so the readers can say, well, is the proof in the pudding? And then you look at Joe Gomez and you go, yeah, it is, yeah. On Cunha's influence in the signing. When Mateus heard it had been announced, he was very quick to send me a voice note congratulating himself on his work on getting Pedro here. That's all part of it. When we talked about what we do differently from Ben flying out to Gabriel, our Brazilian scout, being really important in that. Though to our players reaching out, it just shows what a family we are. There's not just reaching out to say, it's great here, but they're showing they really care. That's Wolves. That's who we are. We saw that on the pitch a lot last year, and that's what the culture we're trying to create around Compton. There's no doubt with Cunha coming from the same place, his mum supporting the team and loving that player, but all alongside Mateus, having the humility to reach out to a young boy and speak positively about the club, speak positively about his love of Wolverhampton and what he's enjoying here. What more can you say about Mateus Cunha? Like, what an absolute legend that guy is, man. Genuinely, like, I love the fact that he's seeing people that have genuine talent and seeing people that would benefit Wolves and really trying his hardest to get them over. I love that. On learning from Semedo, I expect him to come in and to push the players who might be ahead of him at the moment, though through his attitude, through his work on the pitch, his work in the gym, and the way he looks after himself, I expect him to be really competitive. Like we talked about Ryan, we talked about Hugo. I think they really pushed each other on. I expect Pedro to reach Nelson and Doc and the other fullbacks we have. Nelson is such a great pro and a great person from Pedro to learn from. He's done it at the highest level. That's actually true, and I don't think a lot of people think about that when they think about us signing players. If you buy a player and you've got someone with a lot of personality and a lot of I can't think of the word. A lot of I can't think of the word. It's gone. It's gone. But yeah, the idea of having players that have obviously already been in our club and know the culture and know how we are and everything, and it's really good to have those kind of players that can help these young players bed in a lot more. Sorry about that. I completely had a massive brain fart then. I don't know what was going on. On helping him settle in Wolverhampton, the two people he has coming with him, Renato and his wife, who he's incredibly close to, will be really important. But from here, part of the reason our players are so comfortable and settle so well off the pitch is thanks to Lisa. Yeah, Lisa is a wonderful person who's always looking after our young players and really making sure that they're looked after and everything. I know a lot of people from that team. I know one of them very personally, and trust me, that kind of work is very time consuming, but it really helps with these players. But also Compton is so tight-knit and everyone is working in the same direction. We don't have huge egos. Everyone buys into it. But there's also that nurturing and pastoral side, as well as everyone knows who we're taking a boy from thousands of miles away from his home, and we have to challenge him, but also give him the time to grow and develop. He's only 18, and most of us, when we were 18, we're not having to deal with what he's dealing with. And although he has expectations of himself, all the people here are set up to take everything off the pitch to allow him to focus on everything that's happening on the pitch. Yeah, that makes sense. Nice. All right, that was a bit lengthy. Apologies for that. I'm glad you stuck around for those two. But I really think that these articles are fantastic, and I really think that instead of going in depth about, you know, a player gets signed, you talk about his stats, you talk about this, that, and the other, but you don't actually know of the story going on. These are really amazing. I love these articles, and I can't state that enough. So yeah, we already kind of talked about in other videos how these players will fit into Gary's team. We've also talked about what kind of players they are, etc. But what I thought we could talk about is the fact that Gary says in an article today that he wants to play a back four, and our new 9 is his focused central forward. So what does that mean? Well, if we want to play a back four, that frees a man. And if you've got a 9 that's always going to be a 9 and never going to move anywhere else, don't have as much freedom as the players like Cunha in that. That also frees up Cunha. Could we see our team develop more into a formation that allows us to have an attacking midfielder behind our striker, like a number 10? Could we see Cunha be our new 10 with our new 9 in front and the wingers either side? It could be very, very interesting. Obviously, that style of play and formation is going to take some bedding in, but when better to do it in a pre-season where you've really not got anything to lose? I mean, do we really care if teams lose during pre-season? No, we just want to see, you know, the formations at work and what works, what doesn't, what you know could happen in a season. It's very interesting, isn't it? But I like the idea of us going to a back four, because I feel like when we play a back five, although we are better in a back five because of our current players, it does leave little to be desired in some aspects of our game. Feel like because we've got that extra man in defence, sometimes they're not really needed, and they're kind of, it's just sort of overwriting a player that could actually play more forward for us. So yeah, I'm gonna leave my judgments on that for now, but it's very interesting that Gary said that he wants to play a back four with our new 9. So it's very interesting, isn't it? So we'll see what happens. But yes, guys, if you've liked that, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any more of our videos. I really appreciate you watching this. Been a bit of a longer one, but I wanted to go more in depth about what these two signings have had to like deal with on this signing journey. And if you want to know about what their stats are like, how they'll fit in the team, etc., etc., those videos will be in the description, and they go more about into that kind of field of view. So yes, if you enjoyed that, please share it with your friends as well. That'd be awesome, because liking and subscribing is great, but sometimes sharing with your friends is even better. So if you could do all that, that'd be great. Let me know in the comments how you feel about these two signings, about how you feel about this day. What an absolutely amazing day for Wolves. Really, really amazing, and has probably cheered quite a lot of us up on a normal, boring Monday. Let's face it, Mondays aren't the best. But yes, guys, thank you very much for watching this video. I'll see you on the next one. Until then, ta-ra a bit.